Hey guys, welcome to the Coffee Break podcast where we talk about marketing and all things in between. And for today's episode, let me welcome a good friend of mine, and he's also one of the top designers of the Philippines, Jian Lasala.
Hi Alex, how are you? It's been a while, no? The last time we saw each other was when? High school?
Grade
High
school,
s-
grade
Grade
school.
school, yeah. Because Alex transferred to another school when we went to high school. So
So we were separated. we
yeah,
were
so she's not just a
separated.
friend. We were classmates since kinder, ba?
Yeah,
Kinder,
since kinder all the
kinder.
way up to grade 6. And all the boys
Yes,
used to be so jealous of you because Gian was always surrounded by all the
the
girls.
girls. Yeah, and
all
then
the girls.
and that was like then, no, but now it's kind of different. So yeah, I'm still surrounded with beautiful women, but yeah, different life. Yeah,
No, I remember like whenever I see your posts on Facebook, like you're designing gowns for Miss Universe candidates and other stars. I remember the time when we were in, I think, grade 4 or 5 at the time, and
yeah,
you would draw like gowns representing a different country. Like you would draw Miss Universe on paper, and then you would ask
yeah.
us to vote.
The judge.
You
Yeah,
would
you know
ask
what?
all the girls to judge like which
Yeah,
candidate is your favorite, has the best gown.
exactly. You know what? My mom hid it somewhere, and she couldn't find it anymore. And I would pay millions for that because those are memories of how God
Yes.
really started the talent with me. And I did have a booklet, a sketchbook of gowns that I did back when I was younger. So I think we were in grade 3 or in grade 4.
Yeah, I think
I
around grade
really,
4 at the time that
grade 4,
you
yeah.
would pass around this pad paper, and
Yeah,
on the first pad were all the designs. And then I think on the next pad, shoe designs naman.
yeah. So it was like a beautiful memory. And my mom, I asked her about it, and she just really forgot where she kept it because like she really, if she gets mad, she tends to keep the things that we love, and even those dinosaur toys that we really really love too. She couldn't find it anymore. So that's just one of the things that I really would want to, if I had the money or the means, if someone could find it, I would really buy it because it would be nice to look back to those memories.
It would be nice to have that piece of paper framed.
Yeah, and it could be like a good reference of all the gowns that I sketched before, and I could still use it now. And I'm sure that whatever the Lord made me sketch back then would still be very much relevant now, right? So,
Yeah, so let's go. So when I look at you now as a designer, it brings me back to those childhood days when that's when
mhm.
you started, and we didn't know it at that time, but
Mhm.
you started your journey as a fashion designer so early, like back in grade
Yeah,
school, right? Grade 3 or
yeah,
4.
yeah.
So it's really
Yes,
amazing, how the Lord works, that you can see
yes,
who you will become so early on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When it was even before we got into kindergarten that I really started sketching, and I was already showing the talent. And I feel like it was really an anointing from God for me to have the talent and to show, the kind of skill at such a very young age. And it never left my dream until then. When I got exposed first to Miss Universe, it never left my dream. And sorry, that dream never left me, rather, and I continued on it. And that's the reason why every time we meet, I would let you, judge some of the sketches. And it's the only time that I can actually express my artistry, Alex. Because back at home, when we grew up in a very strict Catholic family, and how I wish we were all born again. So we were raised in a Catholic family, and of course we can't blame them; they don't know any better. So we were not allowed. I was not allowed to express it at home. And but yeah, in school it was such a fun memory, and I could really express my artistry, and you guys are very supportive about it. And nothing really comes out of my heart but really just fashion. And I feel like amongst all of us, I was the one who really had a dream that was very much straightforward and sure that I'd be doing that for the rest of my life. So I've never been so sure about myself in terms of that kind of career that I have right now. So
That's very inspiring to know that someone is, even at such a young age, already
Yeah.
knows what he's meant to be. Because
Yes.
especially with the kids nowadays, with the abundance of opportunity that's available out there, it's really hard to choose. Because
Yeah,
there's so
and
many things that you can do now.
that's correct. And what I love about the opportunities now that are around is that it doesn't really give so much value about, that you need to earn, you need to be a millionaire. I'm not sure about it right now if that is really the case, but if it is, and it's really sad because, maybe nothing really has changed from where I'm coming from back then. Because, like, I was really forced to do corporate. And remember the time when NSC was closed, Alex? I think you're one of the families that got affected too. I'm not sure. When National Steel got closed, um, due to whatever the government was doing back then. So it got closed. My dad lost his job, and all the things that he had in his mind was to, let us finish college, get a job, and provide for the family or for ourselves because they cannot provide for us anymore. So, but then whatever God ordains, nothing could really stop him because even if my dad enrolled me to a marketing and entrepreneurship course, which is a double major course in the University of San Carlos in Cebu, it actually just amplified the dream that the Lord had for me. So there's a verse in the Bible that whatever the devil meant for harm, God used it for the good. So whatever happened, that the kind of diversion that happened during the college years, actually the Lord just used that to speed up and promote me from the things that I would actually need now. So marketing and entrepreneurship is actually very important for any kind of business,
Yes, I
especially,
agree. I agree.
right?
No matter
Especially
what
art.
business you're in.
Yeah, especially art, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the way the devil, or I don't know, very spiritual, but I will just say it anyway. The way the devil designed the economy of the world, it was not the way the Lord wants it to be. So we all have to toil the ground and earn our way and earn our money, right? So we are left with no choice but to really get leads, put ourselves out there. But of course, with the grace of God, He gives us the clients, and it's really a matter of seeking the Lord and how to do the strategies for that's for the business that you have, right? So it was very important. And back in college, also, the Lord made me meet the most important designers of that time and until now. So I met big names like Caro Santiago and Fern Onep. Even before they were bigger now, I met them when they were still on their way to becoming big names. And I was trained by Protasio Emphasis Jr. and Ray
Yeah,
Kwan.
I
So,
remember you mentioning him before. I interviewed you like years and years ago for my blog. Blog pa
oh
at that
yeah,
time. Do you
yeah.
remember? Blog as in written down.
Written, yeah, that was a trend before.
Yeah.
there was nothing like this.
I
So
made
yeah.
like my photos of you pa and your gowns. Tapos,
Yeah.
I think it was two posts because the interview was very long it was too long to fit in one post. So, I made
Yeah,
two
yeah.
posts. So, blog pa now, vlog na, video
Vlog
na.
na video. And speaking of that, I never knew that blogging will be such a very big thing because back in 2011 or 12, when Instagram already had this video posting, right? So I called my videos as a video blog. And when they mashed it up, most of the vloggers back then said it was a vlog. So, and here we are now doing the same thing, right? So
So, do you have a vlog?
I do have a vlog now. It's just really, oh my gosh, Alex, there's just a lot of
Really? I should
on.
check it
Yeah,
out. I should check it
yeah, and
out.
it's me interviewing pageant contestants, and but
Nice.
being on YouTube is such a lot of hard work. You have to edit, you have to record and stuff like that.
It,
Unlike
it it is a lot of work. But do you have an editor or do you have someone
I don't have an editor
you
because
should
like
get someone who can edit your videos like kahit part-time lang. So you can focus
okay,
on what you
content,
really
right?
you can focus on creating content and you can focus on
Okay.
designing, which is like what
Right.
you really love to do.
Yeah, because like I love talking. I love being in front of the camera. So
Yeah. Oh.
TikTok is TikTok. I have a TikTok account, and
Yeah,
it's
me too. Oh.
It's the most convenient way for me to do content at such a very short
It's
span of
so
time.
easy, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah, and it's so funny because I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, and I really listen to his content a lot. And at the time he was talking about, you have to do TikTok. It's the next big thing. I was like, what is TikTok? It wasn't
yeah,
mainstream yet
yeah,
at the time. I think it
yeah,
was 2 years ago when he kept on mentioning TikTok, and then he kept on saying it was gonna be a big platform. So I
yeah.
didn't know what it was. Nobody that I knew was using TikTok, but
Mm.
since he kept on mentioning it, I downloaded it. And when I checked TikTok, it's like all I see at the time, all I saw were like kids, mga 7 to 14-year-old kids dancing.
Right.
So I couldn't relate. So even though I already had an account, I posted like a couple of videos, but I couldn't
Yeah,
relate. So I didn't. I stopped using it. And then
yeah.
during the pandemic, it blew up. So that was when I started using it again. And I hired another editor to do my shorts. I mean
Oh
my TikTok,
wow,
yeah, to do YouTube shorts and then my TikTok content. So it's
wow, that's a
really
lot.
a lot. It's a lot easier to create content if you have someone who can edit it for you, because editing takes a lot of time and
That is
skill as
correct.
well. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not really skilled as an editor. I can only do
I
TikTok
can do
edits.
edits though. I can edit videos and even fashion films. I was on to edit my fashion films. And yeah, same story. I think in 2020, yeah, or 2021. I have this friend, brother in church, who was telling me that, I should do TikTok, should do green skin. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Mike, I already have a YouTube channel and you're going to let me do TikTok. And then he
But
wants
but you know
to,
your TikToks, you can post it on YouTube Shorts as well.
oh yeah. But you don't get to earn anything from that,
Yes,
correct?
yes. My
Yeah.
my goal is to just really post more content. So even
Yeah.
if I post across the board, I do it for now. But I also post like videos for YouTube lang.
Ah,
And
okay. For
then
YouTube.
para di masayang yung TikTok content ko, I edit on TikTok because it's so easy, right? And then I post it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
I post it as IG Reels, Facebook Reels, and then YouTube
yeah.
Shorts. So parang all
Yeah.
in one na, parang dinidistribute ko na lang siya across my social
Yeah,
media
yeah.
platform.
Yeah, same here. I don't do that though. I just really focus on TikTok. So when I really tried doing it, when I started, it was as if the Lord was really pushing me to do it. So when I started it, it really gave me the benefits that I wanted to get. So, and then I started doing green screens and I started doing ano yun, green screens and story times and
Sige,
behind the
I'm gonna
scenes.
check your TikTok.
Yeah, and then it grew in a very short amount of
Oh
time.
no, you have
21,000
yeah,
followers.
21,000 followers. You should
Yeah,
keep on doing it. It's gonna get really mature in a couple of years, like 1 to 2 years, and
yeah,
it's gonna be
or
harder
months.
na.
Yeah, and
Mga 1 year,
I just
one to
had
two
my
years na range.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
just we just had our first 1 million views and 600,000 views,
Nice.
and
Yeah, you're blowing up on TikTok.
yeah, and
Congrats.
then,
Wait, I'll check your YouTube channel.
and because of that though,
You should
I'm
continue
now
it, yeah.
yeah, I'm now part of a TikTok creator content program. At first, they allowed me to boost my posts. I'm part of a boosting program, which they just started, just recently. And now I'm part of a content creator program. So basically, when you have something, if your algorithm is pageants and fashion, they would boost you on that for FYPs who are into pageantry and fashion. And you get perks like, for example, exclusive VIP passes for
Yeah,
events.
that's great.
And on Monday, we just got invited to watch a VIP premiere for Elvis. And
So
in
you're
exchange
really
for
doubling down on TikTok right now.
yeah, because like in YouTube it would take you like forever to get 100 views. In TikTok though, it'll take you like 10 minutes to get 100 views, depending on the content or on the day,
Yes.
or if you're not in a competition with another big event. So, and that's what I like about TikTok because it's so unpredictable, unlike Instagram that algorithms are pre-programmed. But in TikTok, it doesn't work that way. It's actually TikTok who screens the contents, and they are the ones who have the liberty to boost someone's post. That's how it works on TikTok. So even if you are the most famous creator, there's really no assurance that TikTok will promote your content. for
Yeah.
boosting. Yeah, that's what I noticed.
That's
Yeah.
so great that you're doing well on TikTok. You should definitely post your TikTok content on YouTube Shorts. Even if you don't
Okay.
get monetized, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the
Okay.
views that you're getting, the equity that you're getting on TikTok can be shared to your YouTube platform. And the
Ah,
advantage kasi with YouTube is it's a search engine. So when they search Miss Universe or whatever event that you're featuring, you will come up. So it would be
oh,
easier for buyers, clients to find you. Like if they're looking for, and then you should like check out, utilize hashtags, like Filipino designer or what, the hashtags of your industry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
The
you should use
hashtag.
all those hashtags for YouTube. Because you don't
Yeah.
need a lot of, like, ito yung experience ko as a vlogger. You don't need a
Mm.
lot of subscribers to get results. Because
Oh,
I have
okay.
like 4,000, almost 5,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. But because of my channel, I'm closing deals monthly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You should
yeah,
be. You could be very rich.
last week lang. By God's grace, grabe yung provisions ni Lord. Pero of course, we have a lot of things naman din na i-distribute naman yung binibigay ni Lord.
oh yeah, of course. So
Pero
like
in terms
it's
of
additional
guidance,
work.
provision, grabe talaga. Oo. Parang
Yeah, yeah, of course.
even though
Yeah.
we had to close our we had traditional businesses that we had to close down during the pandemic. Parang even though we had to do that and it was hard for us, because of that, the silver lining was my husband and I nag-work together because during that time, he was the one focusing on the traditional businesses. Pero nag-double down na kami sa real
Mm.
estate. So,
Ah, wow.
because of that, mas naging okay yung real estate business. Like, parang
Good for you.
so far okay. Yeah, grabe talaga yung hand
Where are
ni
you
Lord.
based now? Where are
Cagayan.
you based in Cagayan. Okay,
Cagayan.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Cagayan. So that's what you should do, especially sa content that you're doing. You can really blow up faster because of
Yeah,
your
and
content. Because it's entertainment, it's pageant.
yeah,
Naman
yeah,
sa
yeah.
Philippines, mga diehard tayo. Di ba?
It's
Mga
either
die...
it's basketball or beauty pageants, and
Yeah.
it's so funny, Alex, because like everywhere I go, people would recognize me, and it never gets into my head. You see, I'm very naive. Even if I know that, okay, we do a lot of impact, we create a lot of impact with what the Lord is doing with our career, but it never crossed my mind that people would actually recognize my face. And every time I go to the Visoria or I would attend pageants or go to screenings and people would just greet and stuff like that. So I'm not used to it. So, but it's a good thing because at least you're guarded and you're not allowed to do stupid things because you're a Christian.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Oo, mas grabe yung responsibility and the advantage that I can see there is when you have a bigger scope of influence, it comes with a lot of responsibility.
Responsibility. That's correct. That is true. Yeah,
And
I
also,
couldn't
aside
agree
from the
more.
responsibility, it's also parang you can touch more people and influence more people,
Yeah, that is
and
true.
point them to the Lord.
That's correct. Yeah, that's true. But I'm in a season now of really building the empire that the Lord wants me to build. So um, I would get it back into that the interviews things because like it's really a lot of work.
It
But it's
is, pero
easier.
hire an editor. Worth it talaga ang YouTube, promise. Even though mag-hire
Okay,
ka. And I
sure.
know it's expensive. Like when I talk to vloggers, meron ako mga kilalang vloggers na 40,000 plus subscribers na. And they're earning from their
Mhm.
channel like way bigger than me as a
Yeah,
content
yeah,
creator. Because I earn kasi from real estate. Not really
yeah,
from
yeah.
content creation, di ba?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's different. It's just that I use content creation and YouTubing as a way to sell real estate and to market myself as a real estate
That's
broker,
true.
and
Same here. Yeah,
it's very effective. So yung being a vlogger, it's a must na today eh. No matter what
yeah,
industry you're in, you may be a lawyer, an accountant, a broker, a designer, a chef, you need to be seen. You need to be where
yeah.
people are. And this is where people are, YouTube. I mean, how many hours a day are you on YouTube yourself? Watching content?
Me.
Or how many
Uh,
hours a day are you on TikTok?
Oh well, I don't know because I listen to sermons. So when I work out, I have a subscription, a YouTube Premium, which makes me listen to YouTube music and the YouTube for ad free. So I am usually 4 hours in average screen time on
Yeah.
YouTube, just
See,
listening
so
to
that's where
sermons. Yeah,
people are. So that's where we need to be and
yeah, that is correct. Yeah,
as professionals.
yeah, yeah.
So how did you start? Like going back, since you mentioned your course was marketing and entrepreneurship, which
Mm.
is a course that in hindsight maybe I should have gotten that course instead of nursing, right?
Well, how did I start? Well, it was so funny because
Or were you designing even when you were in high school?
oh,
Did you
yeah, I
design?
was. I was. Yeah, I was. I did design. Ask Crisette. I did design. What Crisette owns, their family owns a shop, right? A clothing shop, a garment
uh,
shop, correct? So in our cheerleading, in second year or third year, I can't remember which year was that. We designed the we designed. I did design some of our level shirts, remember? And
mm-mm.
I did that also in high school and some of the club shirts. So I
So
did a lot of
design was
designing.
always in your blood.
Yeah, and there was this like design competition wherein you get to use recycled materials, and I did join that. That was my first official design competition, and I lost to the
Did you
designers of Ike
did you
Morgan.
win?
I didn't win. I was only first runner up, but it's okay because I couldn't compete with those people who are really into costumes, and I was just doing a gown made of curtains. But it was a good
It
start.
was a
You
good
know what I
start.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So going to college, I was a very serious student. I graduated cum laude with a double major degree in marketing, but I also did start the fashion brand at the age of 17. So I was able to meet this fourth year college students who are in their what do you call this practicum, and then they asked me to do their school uniforms, and that was actually my first official business. And when I saw how good the money was, I felt like I said, deep inside
But
my head, I said,
wait.
I want to do
I'm
this.
gonna insert this question. How did you like
Meet them.
start start your business while still going to college at the same time?
Oh yeah, so in college, like even if you're a block section, there are other students who would attend the class, right, that are not in your block section. So I think it was what subject was that? I think it was statistics or human development, resource management subject. I met this girl who was one of my classmates. She was already in a practicum, in her practicum, going on fourth year. And then they were looking for a designer to do their uniforms, and they found me. And there were 18 of them, and I charged them, I think, 2,000 per set or 3,000 per set. So that was good money. You compute that 3,000 to 20 people. That's a lot of money, and that's the first time I really made my first five-digit income, and it really made me happy because I became financially independent for.
Wow, you were so rich in college.
I'm not really rich, but it
In
made
college,
me realize.
I only had allowance. In college, you were already
No,
earning.
it made me realize the endless and endless opportunities that it would give me if I really pursue business, and that is the reason why there was such a big struggle graduating, because I graduated with honors, and while my classmates were looking for job offers, I was receiving a lot of job offers on jobs which I don't like. Can you imagine? So companies are calling me left and right, asking me not anymore for an interview,
Why?
but
Why? Because you were cum laude?
yeah, because I was cum laude. So they were calling the upper 10% of the class, and knowing that I'm double major, so there was even this one examination of this huge bank, and I didn't know that most of the people that went actually submitted their application. I was the only one whom they called, and I passed the exam, and they gave me the job offer. It was a very big offer for a provincial rate, but I said I don't like this. I never felt that I loved the job. And there were a lot of offers in the BPO. BPO was really big then. They didn't want me to be a call center agent. They want me to be a team lead or something like that. So they would train me for 6 months, and then I would get the managerial post. So it was that crazy, Alex. I received job offers left and right. for jobs I didn't like. So I was jobless for 8 months, I think, until I really pushed for it and prayed that I would get a fashion job in Manila. So that was my first fashion job for a designer. I got a
So
job.
how did you get that job? I mean, you were from Cebu at the time, right? How did you
Yeah, so
get a job in Manila?
yeah, so I had this classmate in college. I forgot his name. I could still remember his face, but I forgot his name. He is a cousin of one of the famous designers back then, who was both from Cebu and Manila. So she had offices in Cebu and Manila. I won't mention the name. So my first job, imagine, Alex, my parents, my relatives were so mad at me because I could easily land on a job that would pay me, 50,000 at the time a month.
Yeah, that's big for
So
a fresh grad.
yeah, and then there were others who were really willing to pay me that, as 30,000, 20,000, 50,000. So anyway, I settled for a job, and the job title was personal assistant for a fashion designer. And I think I was only earning 10,000 a month with no
Yeah.
field health, no SSS,
Minimum.
minimum, not even minimum, because the minimum then was 13,000 already, or 15 for Manila. So yeah, I mean, and I was really happy because this is really an actual fashion
How
job.
was that experience? Like
It was
being
a
an assistant
nightmare. I
to.
would be honest.
Really?
It
I
was
thought
a
you would be so
nightmare.
happy. I thought you would be so happy being an assistant to a
No,
designer.
I was happy in the fact that finally I had my foot on the door and I was inside the industry, and
Why was it a nightmare?
she was a nightmare.
Oh, that's why you don't want to mention her name.
Yeah, I don't want to mention the name. And I heard from a friend of her friend, or her friend who became my friend. She admitted later on that she was actually hard to work with. So, and I
But
was just being honest.
is
Yeah.
she still in business?
No, no, she's not in business anymore. So, which
I
is
think,
sad.
but I think that's what happens if you're hard to work with. Like you need people
Yeah,
to thrive. So if you're hard to work
yeah,
with, no one will want to work with you, and how can you become successful in your career, right?
exactly. So she made it really hard for all of us to work with her. And but even then, I had managed to really see what Manila is like, and get connections here and there. So I left after a month because I really couldn't help it anymore. I
After 1 month lang.
After one
You know, your
month,
story
yeah,
reminds me of the movie The Devil Wears Prada. Di ba her boss
yeah.
was a nightmare?
Her No, that was a little in.
Miranda Priestley.
No, Miranda Priestley, I can handle. I'm sure I can handle her.
Okay.
But with this designer, she had bipolar tendencies and she has fits of emotions, and she screams at everyone, anyone she would work with. It made it just really hard for us to really work around with her, honestly, because I'm not sure if she's even talented. That's the first thing. And I get frustrated because you look forward to learn from these people. It was really never about the money. Even until now, it's never really about the money. It's how you could grow. More so that I'm a Christian. Of course, I need the money, but it will never be about that.
Yeah, yeah.
More
I
like,
feel the same way as
yeah,
different professions, but that's also my sentiments. Like my husband and I, we're
yeah,
not really. Money is not our primary motivation. It's really
yeah,
excellence in the area where God has placed us,
yeah.
and
Exactly,
the
that
money
is
will
true.
follow. The money will follow naman eh.
Yeah, and it's easy to get money. I mean, if you're a Christian, it's really just easy to ask the Lord for money, and He will give you that, diba? More than what you deserve pa. So yeah, and then a month after I left, I went back home. I got so sad, and I kept on praying that I will get another opportunity. So I think that was sometime around August, July, or something like that. And then in November, I got hired by this one I can mention because they're really nice to me. Bergamo, the menswear brand. And they hired me, and I stayed for 3 months. And then I was in house. They gave me a lodging, a car, a driver, and stuff like that. So it was just a really short stint because, I was um, just there doing like a short project, 3 months or 6 months. I can't remember. I think it was 6 months. So anyway, to make a long story short, before leaving, I found a job with SM. So it was in SM that really catapulted me to where I am today. Because like I met the really important people inside SM.
What was
Um,
your designation?
I was their fashion stylist, and
That sounds like
I,
a fun job. Was it
it
fun?
is it is supposed to be fun, but with SM, things are very hectic and they are very standardized. And I think it's the most standardized and industrialized retail company, and that's the reason why they're very successful because they are very systematic. And I thrived in it. What I didn't like was the politics inside the company because like everyone wants to stay there for good, and for me it was just really a stepping stone. So I don't understand the politics. I came in not as entry level. I came in a managerial position, so I was handling people much older than I am, like 40 years my senior. Can you imagine? So it was hard, but I learned a lot of things which helped me in my business now.
What were
And
your challenges when you
it's
started
really
with
the
SM?
people. It's really the people. Yeah, I am a very professional person, Alex, and what I don't like is really the competition inside. I don't get it. Like we're all working for the same company, and we're not gonna get rich here. So what? What's with the fuzz? Okay, so yeah, but
I
I
think
didn't.
it's really like that. That's really common with corporations, like big or small. Because that's what I hear from people. Because I can relate. Because we have our
Yeah.
own business, right? So, but with my friends or other people who work for big corporations, small corporations, there's really
Mhm.
politics. It's part of the
Yeah.
game, which
Yeah,
we don't
that's true.
understand.
Yeah, because like if now I'm running the business and I don't play politics, but I do sometimes play favorites. Not because you're my favorite, but I do reward people that are very talented. So if you don't earn my trust, then why would I trust you, right? So you have to really earn my trust. And if I do play politics, you'd be worn out by me because I'll be giving you more work, right? So if you want to be on the top tier position, then you have to show me that you can be my shadow or you can do what I'm doing. You get what I mean? So I don't like the politics, but maybe when the company grows big, I would have to make it sure and to let them know that I'm the boss. And whether or not you like it or you want to play politics, you really will never get my position. I have to die first before someone gets it. And even if I die, none of you will still get it. So, just to make things clear. So, yeah, and it was Tunichi Nokom, one of the consultants of SM, that got me a post in Fashion Week. So, again, grace of God, favor of the Lord. Everyone applied for Fashion Week except for me. So, I had shortcuts in my life, Alex, that I don't understand. It was just really the grace of God. So,
Yeah, it's really inspiring to hear your story because it reminds me of my own story because I
mm,
graduated as a nurse in Siliman
yeah,
University.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when I started like applying for a job, volunteer a good.
Mm-mm.
Volunteer pag you're not being paid ba?
Yeah,
So I started apply for a job as a volunteer first because at the time nursing was super in demand at the time.
yeah,
And
in the
right
US.
now parang it's back in demand na again. But
Mm,
at the time was super in demand, so there were a lot of nurses graduating, and then in demand siya abroad, but here in the
yeah,
Philippines ang dami-daming nurses. So
yeah,
you had to apply as a volunteer. But it was so weird because I tried applying to a hospital in a hospital in Iligan along with my batchmates, si Alan and si Ritz.
yeah,
They got in, but I didn't get in. I was like, we graduated from the same school and the exam was so easy.
yeah,
Like it was
yeah.
seriously so easy. And I failed at it. Like parang okay, you can't work here. I was like, what happened? I couldn't understand. I mean, I passed the nursing board exam. Why could I not pass the exam for that hospital?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't understand at the time, and I applied for Canada, declined na naman. So there are a lot of closed doors when it came to my nursing career. But when I shifted to real estate because I attended this seminar in Manila and parang okay, this is the industry for me. parang sunod-sunod lang yung open door. So, similar experience sa'yo na there were a lot of, like, parang the stars just aligned
Yeah.
for me in my career in the real estate industry. Pero sa nursing, parang ang hirap. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
You
really
can't force it there.
yeah, you can't force it. So, it's really different if you know what the Lord's will for is in your life. Kasi parang
Mhm.
smooth lang yung transition mo.
Yeah. That's true. And you cannot force what the Lord doesn't want you to have it. And even me, even if I'm such a spoiled Christian kid. So sometimes I don't force it naman, pero along the way, your focus would change. And that's where the Lord tends to, pull me back to the purpose of why I'm doing it and what was really the original plan. But of course, you get disappointed because the system would always fail us, and the system is not Christian. So we really cannot expect people to work alongside with the will of the will of the Lord. Correct. So yeah, it is what it is. So I just have to create more gowns, and I just because like when the Lord sets you apart for something, it's a place where other people can't be in, right? So like what He gives me, like Miss Universe, SHEIN, no one can be
Yeah,
there
I saw your
except for us.
designs on Shein.
Oh
Is it
wow, thank you.
Shein or Shein?
SHEIN, yeah,
Shein? Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, SHEIN. So and nobody else could be there. A designer of my caliber, no one could be there. Like in another, like in national pageants, everyone can be a designer at national pageants. And my brother here, church brother, who's now my managing director, has been telling me, "Kuya, you're not cut out for that." And I was telling, okay, I'm just gonna dress up as one last girl
Cut out for what?
for national pageants, because and the logic is, why will you push yourself into a place where you are not set apart? You get what I mean? So the Lord already has set me apart in international waters, and it's so easy for me to get projects abroad. The bridal thing is going. It's also very different. It's very unique, and it makes sense, because it's also very the dynamics of the local pageantry is also very different. And my only prayer now is, if I will do this again, it would be like, Lord, just give me someone who knows that she will win. Otherwise, I'd be wasting my time. And, you spend money, you spend time with girls who are not even sure about themselves. I mean, I understand the pressure of the competition would, make them feel less of themselves. But if you're there, then you have to be built like an athlete, because it's a
Yeah.
marathon. It's different in the Philippines.
Being in a pageant is a marathon.
It is, and it's like competing with a lot of champions of different places. Correct. So
Yeah, one of my favorite Miss Universes is Catriona Gray. And
yeah, she's built different talaga.
it's
She's
because
sort
of how I even joined her course in NAS Academy just because I wanted to meet her, even kahit via Zoom lang. Because we had
yeah,
a like meet and greet with Catriona and stuff like that. So the reason why I really like her is because of her mindset.
yeah, yeah,
Not only because she won, but because of how she won. And when she explained it during the course, as she shared like tidbits about how she won she won Miss Universe and how she prepared for it during her course. She was really very, very, very prepared. Like
yeah. You have
super
to be prepared. Yeah,
super detailed. I mean, to the extent na when she was gonna compete already for Miss Universe, she already researched kung sino yung magiging singer. At the time, it was Neo. At her time, it was Neo, right?
yeah,
Who was gonna be the singer for the top five. Kasi di ba the
yeah,
top five will have their walk,
yeah. Individual walk. Yeah,
individual walk. So she already researched who would be the singer. And since it was already Neo, she researched from among all his songs what the possible songs would be
would
sa
be.
final walk. So she narrowed it down to two, and one of them was Miss Independent. And
Mm,
she practiced her walk with Miss Independent in her
yeah.
gown with all the makeup and hair and heels. So she was that
Mm.
prepared to that level.
Yeah, and that
So
is the grace of God, because it's actually very biblical, and I'm also doing that right now. I mean, of course, no one could be too over prepared. But if you have God with you and you allow Him to speak to you and reveal to you what you need to do, then you come in really prepared. Because, like, for example, Miss Universe is coming up, or everything and anything that I do or we do in the business, He reveals to me stuff that I need to do, even the strategies that we have now for the business, cost structures, how to schedule everything, who to hire, how to do things. So, it's really like Joseph the dreamer, right? When he received this vision that there will be a famine for 7 years, and he told the king that they need to prepare for this.
It's so timely. That's actually what my quiet time was this morning.
Oh yeah, wow.
Joseph the dreamer, and I was reading the chapter this morning about the king having this dream, and
Yeah,
no one could
yeah.
interpret it. That's
Interpret
why
it.
his
Yeah,
cupbearer said, "Oh, I remember Joseph." And that was like two
yeah,
years after. 2 years after
yeah. He was in prison.
Joseph
Yeah, so
interpreted
sad.
that in 3 days you would be set free. Please remember me. And then he forgot.
And then
That's so
yeah,
mean.
yeah, and then Joseph was like telling the king that they need to prepare for 7 years, and for 7 years after there will be a great famine, and their country will be so rich because people from nearby countries will have no food and they will buy from them. And then Joseph became what, king, I think. So same with that, it applies to all of us Christian. We're
Not
built
not king, but like second in command to the king.
second in command. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, us Christians are built and designed to hear from God. So however you want to hear from the Lord, I could hear from Him audibly, whether you guys believe it or not. I could. So I would hear voices. He would give me visions of the designs and etc. 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 Even the things that I need to wear in a day, He would tell me. So yung mga ganon. So it's just really a relationship with the Lord, because what is a relationship if you don't communicate, right? So some Christians, or even most people in the secular world, wouldn't believe that God is really would really want, parang whatever we do means a lot to God, or our desires means a lot to God. Those desires are aligned to His desire as well.
As long as it's aligned
So
to his will, yes.
yeah, that's correct. So with the business, it's really His desire for me. So when I became a Christian, there was really nothing that stopped Him from letting it grow. In fact, I'm just 3 years in my Christianity, and I've seen a lot that I could not even achieve on my own in the last 8 years before coming into full time Christianity. So, and then it just happens, Alex. And even though I would know and I feel that I'm exhausted, I know that I could sleep and wake up tomorrow knowing that there is food, I could pay rent. During the pandemic, we were able to pay our bills, I have two cell phones, although we still have corporate loans, but I know it's going to be paid off, and I know that it will be paid off in due time. But of course, it was also in the pandemic that I was able to pay my credit card loan. So the Lord is really, we are really set apart, and set up for really bigger things. And that's one of the things that I want to inspire a lot of people, that, coming into Christ, yes, there are a lot of things that you need to give up. But what they don't understand is, you're just giving up the things that the Lord doesn't want you to do, because that's not your original design. And you know how my life back then was, Alex. And I left that life for the Lord because I had an understanding that that's not what He wants for me, whether we like it or not. And I do understand that even if I push for it, it's really never going to work. So when I left that life, everything just really fell into place. And what He promised, it's now happening. And it's more than what I could imagine. What I couldn't achieve in 8, 10 years, I got it in 3 years. And before I couldn't sleep, excuse me, before I couldn't sleep because there's no work. I don't know where to find money for food. Now I couldn't sleep because there's just a lot of work. And what I do like is, even if I'm really busy, the Lord really sets a time for me, not just quiet time, but a time for me to enjoy myself, to have fun, eat ice cream without getting fat, stuff like that. Because He tells me what to do in the gym. You get what I mean? So, yeah. So, life with the Lord, it's you become. He really wants us to be fruitful. It's in John 15:7. or John 15, you read the chapter, it says there that if you are fruitful, then you are my children, or you belong to me, because it means to say that you have a relationship with the Lord, right? So
So with coming back to your business, how many people do you have now in your team?
we are still growing, and from two seamstresses now we have temporarily we have five assistants who are on call, and my managing director is doing his OJT now. So we are actually, like what I'm telling you, we are preparing ourselves for the bigger blessing, so that when the rain comes, the basket is ready, or the barrel is ready for the heavy
Not the
rain.
basket, but the barrel.
The barrel, yeah, because barrels are bigger and
Bring
deeper.
out the big barrels.
Yeah, and what people don't understand is, if the Lord wants to give you a blessing, you have to be really prepared for it. So there's really a time for preparation, and you're still not at a loss, because while you're preparing, you're still being provided for. People just wants the blessing, but what they don't understand is there's really work that comes with it. You have to be responsible. So before I became a Christian, I really want the business that I have now, right? But now that I'm a Christian, sometimes I would tell the Lord, can we just put a stop on the brake, please? Like, press the brake muna kasi I want to sleep. That is the reason why. That's the reason why the
So
business
it's
now is.
super hectic pala that you can barely sleep. Like ganyan
Yeah,
yung
ganun
business.
levels. Yeah, yeah. I
Pero
could barely.
bakit? Bakit? Like you have to, I don't know, what do you do?
There's
Like you're
just a
so busy that you
lot.
can't sleep.
There's just a lot, Alex, and I'm very aggressive. I will not let a day pass without marketing. Since we're talking about it, I would not let a day pass without really marketing and getting that opportunity, or missing that opportunity to get leads. So every day when we release the Bride on a Budget, which is the first project that the Lord wants me to do, and it's still running up until now, it's a mission from God to help brides who cannot afford really exorbitant designer gowns. And
So
I'm
can you
not
tell
saying,
us about that?
yeah,
Your first
so
project, Bride on a Budget.
Bride on a Budget. So when I became a born again Christian, the Lord really impressed to my heart to really just be upfront with marketing. Because in fashion, it's always about the image, the illusion that you're expensive, but really the truth, the hard truth about it, that is not true. And I am a Christian, or a businessman also for the Lord, that doesn't want to overprice, because for me it's really disgusting. I know how much it cost me. Like, for example, a wedding gown would cost me this much, and other designers are pricing it this much. Although I understand that their overheads are high, but there are just other designers who are charging so high because of their lifestyle. So that's really bad. So for me, I do things with integrity. I know how much it would cost me, and I know how much my overheads are. So when the Lord made me do the Bride on a Budget, the mission is really just to help brides who cannot afford designer clothes, because or wedding gowns, because they would opt to go to Divisoria, which is 5 times more expensive than our rates, and they couldn't even get the quality that they deserve, right?
So
For the price that
how
they're
does it
paying.
work? Like you still customize gowns for
Yeah, I still customize gowns, and normally I would ask the bride to give me a peg, and then they will make an offer, and I will make my offer, and then we meet halfway. So that's how it works. And along the way, the Lord opened another opportunity to create minimalist bridal gowns, because Filipinos or Filipinas are into K drama, and Korean drama really just features minimalist wedding gowns, right? There's barely anything on their gowns. So yeah, and then we have two offerings now. We have the minimalist bridal gowns and the Bride on a Budget that caters to really exquisite gowns, but not too expensive.
So
So
what's the price range of Bride in a Budget gowns?
the Bride on a Budget gowns would go for the minimalist gowns would go from 15,000 to 25,000, and the bride on a budget would go from 25,000 up. So, but of course, it has to be within reason. I cannot give you anything of a cheap, really cheap offer for a fully beaded gown. That's insane. But it would be in a very competitive price naman. So it's
You know
really just a
who?
matter of industrializing things, right? The process.
I think that can really help out like so many brides.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Because
and
when you get married, the expenses are crazy.
yeah, I don't understand that, Alex. Like, if it's my turn to get married, oh my goodness, I would rather just go to
Go to City Hall.
uh, yeah, city hall and get married and have like Sex in the City, di ba? Na parang breakfast.
Yeah, because it's so crazy when you book, for example, like a videographer for an 18th birthday or I don't know, other events. The
Mm-hmm.
the pricing is like this. But if it's a wedding, it's this. It's like similar lang
Mm,
yung time span and
yeah,
similar lang yung work, but pricing is really different when it comes to weddings.
yeah, because they would know that you get married only once. I hope. I mean, for other
Yeah.
people, they think that marriage is really like a
It's really
game.
a big
So,
deal, 'di ba? So kaya it's being monetized. But you know who you should tie up with your bride
who?
and a budget gowns? The budgetarian bride. Do you know her?
No. Who is she?
I know the person behind the budgetarian bride. She has a Facebook page. I think she has around 300,000 followers.
Followers? Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you can tie up with her because I think she ties up with some suppliers, wedding suppliers.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't ask for commission because I'm barely getting anything from, so
Well,
maybe I could like,
you can just explore. You can talk about
yeah,
like
yeah, sure.
how you can work together because she
Yeah,
also
sure.
has an
No
ebook
problem.
that may be of use to your brides.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, sige. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll, I'll reach out. Yeah.
Kasi similar, I can make a group chat later. Kasi
Yeah, sure.
you have a similar goal ni
Mm,
Camille, the person behind Budgetarian
budgetarian
Bride. When
bread.
she,
Yeah.
it's for those working women who don't really have a lot of budget to get married, but they still want, of course, a nice wedding.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't
So,
want a nice wedding, right?
yeah, so she wrote down all her frustrations na hindi daw na-happen sa wedding niya. She made an ebook out of it, and that's what she's selling to those who are bride-to-bes.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, I just don't understand with women and their fascination with a out of this world wedding, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not there yet, so who am I to judge? Correct. But if it was me, I would just like you saw that movie, Letters to Juliet, the
Yes, but
last.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
if I remember all the scenes
yeah,
there.
the last scene they just had a dinner in the villa. I really want it like that now. Like no absurd money dance or whatever. Like I'll invite sponsors of course and family, but I really just wanted a simple dinner, not a fairy tale wedding. I'd rather save that for a very nice honeymoon. But for now, there's not yet in my mind because like I'm married to my work, so the woman that should be married to me would have this understanding that she's also marrying a big company. So she has to fit in. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
She might be your co-designer, 'di ba?
We'll never know, or she might be another rich woman who would help the business. We'll never know. We'll never know. Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to your SM story, Fashion
Mhm.
Week. So what happened?
Fashion Week, it was really nice because like it was really a dream come true, and I barely had a team who did it for me, and I never had a really matino na seamstress. It was just really me and a designer friend back then who came up with a collection, and everything went uphill. After that, you became known. But of course, Fashion Week is never the end game. It was always about you putting yourself out there and marketing yourself. And that was a struggle because the system is still very Filipino. The padrino system that you have to suck up to people and stuff like that, rub elbows. And I don't do those things. I'm very, very professional. And until I really found my place, and it was just really the Lord setting me apart for something, but I didn't have any understanding then. But now I realize it was really the Lord setting me up for something different now that I'm doing uh, whatever it is that He wants me to do now. So we're still doing a lot of fashion weeks, not the local one anymore. We did Cambodia and then Indonesia and Hong Kong. Hong Kong was the most memorable. And then my first ever fashion week as a Christian was in Korea. And we are still in residence in that organization. It's just that, the pandemic happened and the last two fashion shows were all digital. So, yeah, we're looking forward to go back to Korea this year since there will be no more quarantines and whatever. So, and I'm fully vaccinated. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to going back because they spend everything, the hotel, the plane tickets, so they would spend for everything.
So is it like that with other fashion weeks? Like they shoulder airfare and hotel,
Um,
or it depends?
no, the Hong Kong Fashion Week, we actually paid for it. That was also a dream come true. And but the Cambodia one, yes, they were the one who spent for it. And then the one in Indonesia, no, we were the one who spent for it. So in Korea, we really want to, because my gosh, Korea is so beautiful. I'm not sure if you've been, but if you go, Alex, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. But people are telling me that Japan is better. There's another dream to go to Japan. So yeah,
So when you go, how does that work? Like how do you get to join Fashion Week?
it's really connections. Like, of course, it's about the talent, but getting inside the system, it's really more of your connections, who you know, and talent comes in next.
Well, similar to here in the Philippines.
Yeah, it has always been like
I
that.
think it's that like that all over the world. Like it
Yeah,
really matters who you know. And of
yeah,
course, you have to back it up by having talent, skill, and the drive to
it's
work really
true.
hard.
Yeah, and I love international fashion weeks because you get to represent the country, and you're the only one. So yeah, and unlike, well, here is actually really good also, right? I mean, people are watching, your friends could watch, but for me, I'm more comfortable doing international fashion weeks because yeah, I mean, you're the only one,
The only Filipino
the
designer.
only Filipino
So
designer.
that gets highlighted.
Yeah, yeah, the only Filipino designer. If there's another one, then you're on different shows. So not all Filipino designers are brave enough to really, set foot on a different playground.
What about the Miss Universe designs that you create
Mhm.
for different countries? Like how do you get those? Or is it the contestant that contacts you or her team or you reach
Yeah,
out to them?
I reached out to them when the Miss Universe was done here in the Philippines in 2016, in January of 2017. Um, I reached out to them first, Sierra Leone, and they came back to me 2 weeks after, and then the rest is history. After I did Sierra Leone, when the Miss Universe was done here, I met the director of Kenya and Tanzania. So I transferred countries, and I'm still serving them now. And then someone referred me to Belize. So Belize, we're dressing them up as well. So it's really connections, and there's a blessing that being a powerhouse in pageant would give us, because even designers really would benefit as well. So I'm happy that Pia won it for us, and Catriona then won it again for us. So then we have this really consistent placements in Miss Universe. So it makes us really a country for evening gowns too. So it's additional pieces for us. So yeah.
Additional marketing for all the Filipino designers.
Yes. And
Right.
and it also helps me market the bridal business, when you have that on the side.
So kumusta na yung business right now? Like, how did you fare during the pandemic? Did you like plateau or did sales increase, decrease? What happened?
VR watching. No, I'm paying my taxes. So anyway, um, when the
VIR
Lord
is
said,
watching.
no, no, I'm paying my taxes. Don't worry. When the Lord says that He's gonna multiply it 100-fold, He really meant it. So that's what I'm gonna say.
So it's safe to say that business boomed even
Yeah,
during the pandemic.
even during the pandemic. So it was really the Lord knew that there was going to be a pandemic, so He already saved me before the pandemic. So I'm so blessed that I received my salvation again before, not naman again, but I came fully into the Lord before the pandemic because He already gave me a big head start. Even after, well, we're still in the pandemic, so we had a long head start and a huge gap between other companies that are not in Christ. But of course, God is still with them. I'm in Christ, so that's the difference. And yeah, we didn't go poor during the pandemic. It just really affected us when there was a hard lockdown, which lasted for 3 months. But for me, that was also a blessing. If others, they found it a threat. But for me, that was a blessing. I did a lot of things. I did vlogging, food reviews, stuff like that. I had a lot of careers during the pandemic, which I'm still doing now. So, and I actually missed the quarantine. Not that I want another quarantine, but or another lockdown, but I miss it because you wake up and then you have no reason to work. You just stay at home. I miss it. Yeah,
So you did well during the pandemic.
I
Like,
did well
but it's
during the
it's
pandemic.
interesting to note that even the fashion industry was okay during the is it the same with the rest of the industry as well?
No, it wasn't the same. It would not be fair for me to say that it was the same, but it wasn't. So I would attribute it to the love of the Lord, really. It was really just the Lord. I couldn't explain it. The income that
Like
I,
there were still clients, like the
there were
pandemic,
still
so
clients,
parang
yeah,
people would prioritize more on other things aside
yeah,
from maybe designer clothes, right? Or
yeah,
maybe even
and
getting married, place getting married on hold, stuff like that, or
exactly,
no more events. So
yeah.
why do you think business continued to prosper even despite not having events or any weddings
Okay.
during that time, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, 2020?
Well, of course, like I said, God is all knowing, right? So He knew about the pandemic. He made me start the Bride on a Budget. And it was during the pandemic that the Bride on a Budget soared talaga. So
Because
it
it was an
soared.
alternative, affordable
Yes,
option to those
yes.
expensive
And
wedding gowns that you wear only once.
yeah, exactly. And it soared into proportions that I never knew and I never imagined. And it was during the pandemic that we still could afford to go to Miss Universe and we did evening gowns. And because of Miss Universe, it got me into the SHEIN project. And yeah, I wish I could give you a marketing strategy that people could follow. But really, the marketing strategy here is have a relationship with the Lord and He will reveal it to you. And um, if your audience in the podcast, if your listeners are still not in Christ, I believe it is the high time to come into Christ. I know that it's hard to figure out the character of the Lord because, of course, He's a big God. Okay, so it's really just about changing your mindset. That is repentance, changing your mind, renewing your mind, not just on how you live or how you put the effort in your dreams, but really on changing your mind on how you see God, what His heart is, His character. Because if you really know God, you would understand that whatever desires you have in your heart that aligns into His desires actually from Him, your dreams, your goals, it's actually from the Lord. Why would He put that there in the first place, right? And why are you even good at it? The only difference is when you're not a Christian, you would develop all of these strategies that quote unquote, would work. But if you are in the Lord, He said it in the Bible, seek the kingdom first and his righteousness, and everything will be added to you. He meant to say, come to me, I will tell you what to do. That's
Yes.
it. So it's very
That's that's
simple,
a
right?
simple way of putting it.
Yeah, and then I do that a lot. I do that. Oh my gosh, Alex, you cannot just imagine the things that I ask of the Lord. To the point that even the food that I eat, I would ask him, Lord, what do I eat today? Or Lord, will this make me fat? Or something like that. So crazy, right? But that's just how it is, from a relationship to a God is our father and father to a son. So that's the marketing strategy. Seek the kingdom, ask the Lord what to do, and he will tell you what to do. And trust me, his ways are perfect. Because if we say that the Lord is good, why would he put you to harm, right? So that is a marketing strategy, Alex. And I hope it will make sense to a lot of people that
Seek
are
God's
listening.
kingdom first.
Yes, because like it is really it there. Even if I would tell you, okay, this is what I did, this is what I did, this was a marketing strategy, blah blah blah. Okay, I can tell you one. Filipinos are would really get the value for their money. That is really one of the strategy that I can share. They really want to get the value for their money. Now, what do you need to do? God also revealed to me that, okay, if they want to get the value of their money, meaning pipigain ka talaga, to protect you from this kind of behavior, make contracts, put everything in paper, record your income, and you don't even have to do anything unique because once the Lord revealed to you what you need to do, then you are already set apart, right? So all you need to do is be reachable, number one. Be no, not sorry, not just be reachable, but be approachable. Be interested in explaining to your clients what are the details of the transaction. That's one of the things that they like about me, Alex, when I read on Wowwees in these reviews that aside that I'm a man of God, they would say that I explain to them in full detail what really happens in a transaction. Because at the end of the day, clients would really want to have an idea of what's going to happen, right? And then update them constantly and yeah, just put everything in paper. So getting the leads, what I do is I just advertise every day. Even if I'm using the same material every day, not, sorry, it's not the same person that would look at it, diba? So just keep on fishing and fishing and fishing, and the fish will come. So, right? If you're looking for leads, then put yourself out there. You don't wait for leads to come. You put yourself out there.
That's why
And,
TikTok
exactly. And
and YouTube.
Facebook really works for Filipinos. I don't know with the other countries, but it works for Filipinos. If you're into real estate, cooking, whatever you do or what services you offer, find a Facebook group that would match your product. I am a part of so many wedding groups, so I advertise there every single day. And for me not to forget that I need to advertise, I have an alarm clock for my advertising. Even for the time that I need to post on my TikTok. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the marketing strategy that they're looking for. Then that's that, or those are the things. But I will not end up doing that if I didn't have a relationship with the Lord. So it may not apply to you. So seek the Lord first because He might have a different strategy for you.
So, thank you for your advice. I think that's very apt advice for those who are really looking to not only grow their business but their life in general.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you want to go to heaven, right? So Jesus is the answer.
Yes, that's right. So, going back to your SM career, your
Okay.
how long were you with SM?
I was there for almost a year. Yeah, almost a year.
And
Yeah.
then after that, you started your own business or you
No,
transferred
I
to
did
another.
bench. I did bench for a year. And then after bench, I did Stoke Inc., the surfing brand. I was there for 4 years. That was my longest employment because I really
Wow.
enjoyed it. Yeah. I
How
think I
come
was
you
there
were
for
there for 4 years? Like that's like a long time
really
already.
long because like they allow me to come in at any time, although I was late every day and I got suspended many times. But it was just really a place for artists to thrive. And I really enjoyed it. And it was so funny because so I get suspensions, right? So they will allow me to choose the day that I want to be suspended. So I would choose it on a day that there was not much work to do. It was close to my vacation or stuff like that. So I really love so.
It's so funny because even your suspensions, parang naging perk siya.
Yeah, it was a perk. Yeah, and then
Yes,
you know,
I'm suspended. More leaves.
yeah, more
Or
leaves.
I can
Yeah,
extend my vacation leave.
and I could take unpaid leaves anytime for reasons that are really obscure. So I could do that.
So, naging 4 years yung stint mo doon because
Yeah,
of
because
that.
of that. Yeah, and then although the pay wasn't that good, it was good, but it wasn't fair enough to make me stay for a long time. But it was really a good place for me, for artists to stay talaga. If you want fun and games, then. And I was also very serious, Alex. I was their only designer and created a system for them. So
Okay. Natawa ako sa suspension na parang,
yeah,
was that a punishment or perk? I'm
it's
confused.
yeah, because like for a year, I think I was only on time for 2 weeks. The rest I was late. And like they were telling me, oh Gian, you have your suspension na, ganun, ganun. Sabi ko to our HR, kung Miss May, kailan ba ako pwede mo-suspend? Yung mga ganun. So,
Parang ang chill lang, no?
yeah, chill lang talaga the environment. And although they were having a hard time doing our collections because, they didn't have so much of the financing to back up the production because, there were minimums for the t-shirts and the surfing gears and all these things. So it was quite a challenge, but it was fun. It was really fun, yeah.
And then after that, that's when you started na.
Yeah, I attempted and it didn't work out with my first business associates, and then I went full time. Started the company, registered it in 2015. So we are registered in SEC.
So what were your challenges as a budding designer?
Before coming into Christ, it was really more of making both ends meet. It's really more of that. And
How
not,
were you able to overcome that?
how was it? Well, yeah, but becoming a Christian is really the answer.
So for
Because
so long, before you were a Christian, you were really struggling.
I was really struggling, and the biggest struggle was really getting outside of the corporate design world and being on my own because I didn't know what to do. There was no money coming in, and the strategies were just like all over the place, and I didn't even know if it was working. So yeah, it was really just coming to Christ that everything that life's cares were not anymore my care. It was like my cares now is really my spiritual health, like when not to do this, how could I not do this? So I'm really focused on that, even if I know that the Lord will not get offended with me anymore. But of course, it's in the Bible, you should not continue living in sin, right? That's my primary concern now. So that's something, Alex, that there's no marketing strategy for. That I could not let this all in the Bible.
Well, the Bible happens to actually be a great life manual. There's so much
Yeah, it is.
wisdom to be found there, like especially with Proverbs, how to handle money, how to handle people. So
Exactly, yeah. Proverbs is such a very good book. I love
very
Proverbs.
practical.
Yeah, it's King Solomon and King David.
Yeah. So right now, what is your advice to budding designers out there since of course they see you work with this universe, big brands.
Yeah.
What is your advice to designers out there who want to be like you?
Well, first of all, don't be like me. Because like you're a different person. God created us uniquely. We have individual talents. So
Or
once you start,
become a designer.
okay,
Like,
to become a big designer
to
of what
become a
I do,
designer.
right? Yeah.
To do what you're doing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, our talents are only gifts from God, and for us to fully maximize it, have a relationship with the Lord. And you know, it's really amazing. I could not put it into words. The creations that He makes us do, He makes me do, is really beyond belief talaga. Even me, I couldn't explain it. Yeah, come into Christ, you know, have a relationship with the Lord. And the next, what else? Don't be afraid. Just that. Don't be afraid. God believes in you already. He gave you the talent, so He already knows that you can do it. So don't be afraid to express your uniqueness. I'm not saying, you know what I mean. Express what I'm trying to say is express your uniqueness in your designs. However you want to express it, just express it. So long as it's in within the bounds of kingdom principles, just express it. Don't be afraid. Express your creativity. Um, yeah, because you're an individual made by God uniquely. So God will give you the design which is unique to you, and nobody else could do it. Just you. So you are special. You are one of a kind. So make sure that you get that message across. And at the same time, you should know how to handle your money. At the end of the day, we have to eat. So it's still business. You need to eat, you need to pay your bills. So fashion events look so glossy, but they're really dead and empty inside. That's not the real thing. So I'd rather that you focus yourself in immersing yourself in the work that the Lord gives you and let your work speak for itself. And don't rush into rubbing elbows with famous people because they don't pay. Not all of them pay. They don't have the money, you know. They only bank on their fame. Uh, so yeah, just continue to work hard. Be honest and sincere. Have integrity, and the Lord will reward you for your sincerity and hard work also.
Very well said. Coming from designer Jian Lasala.
Uy, grabe ha. Parang I'm not that big naman of a person, Alex. I'm still working on a lot of things. Yeah.
We're all big naman in the eyes of the Lord. Like whatever our
Yeah.
stage is, as long as we're working with excellence,
Yeah, that's true. That is correct.
yan na
Yeah.
yun. Okay, so thank you so much for your time, G. Where can people find you? What projects do you have?
Okay, so you can always find me on Instagram, but I'm not too active there. But I'm more active on TikTok, Jian Lasala. I will promote that. Uh, TikTok, yeah. You can find me on TikTok, and Miss Universe is coming up. Definitely, we're working on something. And SHEIN X Jian Lasala is still ongoing, and it's safe to say that we are working on a second collection. It's coming out in fall winter, so I'm not sure when. So it's gonna be on the fourth quarter of the year. So yeah, that's about it. And continue to pray for me. You can always reach out to me on Instagram if you want prayers. I would really love to do that and share the love of the Lord with you guys. So that's what I'm passionate about as well. So the things that you see on media, social media, are only the fruits of my relationship with the Lord. It's really not the real thing yet. It's really my relationship with the Lord that's making a big difference and impact in my life. So.
Okay. So, thank you again for your time, Gian. And to
Thank you,
all
Alex.
who's listening on this podcast, thank you for spending your time with us. And I will see you in the next episode.